Hello, I'm a crazy man, or a Tom. Uh, so Rob already pretty much did like the artistic side of the vlog, so I'm gonna talk a bit more about the technical side of things. So that's a bit less about like the artistic style and whatnot, more about how we do certain things like coding wise, without actually going too deep within the code itself. We're not gonna look at any code, we're just gonna look at how we did it without looking into the code. So how did this all come to be? Well, Rob's an animator. He's used to working with Unity. I had no experience with Unity whatsoever before this. I do work with C# at work to design applications. So in that sense, I do know, an important part of Unity, which is the coding part, which is what I'm in the end responsible for. So Rob came to me as like, I'm looking for a programmer. I know you know C#. Can you, help me out? And that's how we got started about a month and a half ago. So a month and a half later, this is what we made. So the point of this video is pretty much to go to the aspects of what we did for this build. But first, I'm gonna talk a bit about the setup we have. So. How we get like the stuff for Unity synced. So we have a server. I have a server, Raspberry Pi 2, which I used to host an SVN, which we use to sync the files, obviously, and have a bit of versioning system. And on the same Raspberry Pi, we also have like Mumble, because he's in England, I'm in Belgium, so we can't exactly meet up and discuss shit. So we use Mumble to talk about that sort of stuff. And we also have like a Mantis running on the same Raspberry Pi. If you don't know Mantis, it's pretty much like an issue tracker, so you can log like issues and follow them up, give them different statuses. The reason we did this is because we want an oversight of what we're doing, what's broken, what needs to be fixed, and a bit of a knowledge base, so you can look back and look like, okay, so we had that problem, maybe we can fix the same problem this way. And this is all just running on Raspberry Pi as well. So now I'm just gonna run over, the important bits for this build, what we did, which was special, I guess. So I guess the most important bit is the weapons. So you've got like default, it has no weapon, and then you've got like a weapon switcher system, which you can choose to go between a lantern, a crossbow, and an axe. The lantern isn't much special, just a simple light on a game object which illuminates the scene. The crossbow is a bit more in depth, I guess, because you've got first of all you have to aim before you can shoot. So if you hold down right click, it will sort of go in aiming with IK, which is inverse kinematics. So it will move the body, or at least it will move the body and the crossbow in relation to the mouse cursor, because you can see the mouse cursor will just follow it. So it will move the body to match the crossbow to look at the mouse arrows, so you can fire off some nice arrows. And it does this obviously left and right. That was initially one of the hardest parts, because IK is a very simple principle in nature, but very difficult to sort of comprehend when you're speaking about multiple bones and like a character, because it's very simple for IK, like in a robot where there's like a few joints. But it becomes very convoluted and very difficult just trying to do something, especially when you're new at Unity, to just try something as simple as aiming a crossbow at something. So that took us quite a while to actually, implement. In the end, we didn't go for like a pure IK. So there is IK, but there is also a bit of determining where the cursor is relative to Gabe. So if you look, if he points upwards, he's like aiming it up with one hand, as opposed to aiming forward, he'll use two hands, and then going downwards, you'll see he'll shift his left hand slightly below, closer to his other hand. So if you switch, you can see that. So we have the animations blend there as well. So that took us quite a bit of while to actually figure out, but in the end it doesn't use IK. Then you've got the third weapon, which is an axe, which has two attack modes. You have like a normal attack, which is just a slash, and we've got a push away action, which doesn't exactly work. detection is pretty easy. There's just a box collider on it, on the axe itself. So when it detects something, it just murders it. And when you hit one enemy, it'll pop off their head and, you know, make him gush with blood. Like that, and that, take that zombie. So pretty easy in that regard. We've also introduced a few enemies in this build, which is two types of zombies. You've got like a slow zombie and a fast zombie, which are, you know, mostly the same, apart from like the slower zombie has like slightly different animations, and obviously they move slower as well. So if you look at it, you can see the slow zombie in front, and then the faster zombie is catching up with a different animation, and that's pretty much the only difference, because and maybe like a different attack, but generally the slower zombies just move a bit slower, the faster zombies move a bit faster. And they both got pretty much the same AI system, which is if they see you, which is like an FOV of about 110 degrees in front of them, they will be alerted, and they'll go from sort of like the idle state, as in you can see the zombies in an idle state now, from an idle state to sort of like an attack mode, in which they will become alerted themselves if they see you, and alert the zombies around them, and they'll start chasing you. Guess we can look at that now. So if one of the zombies in the bunch, which is a lot of zombies obviously, if one of them spots me, obviously they're all, you know, alerted to my presence, and they will all try and kill me. The zombies just pretty much use a nav mesh agent to chase Gabe around. Oh my god, it's a lot of them. And then they will try and chase you pretty much relentlessly. There's no sort of, you know, once they're alerted, they will keep trying chasing you. As you can see in the back, there's all the slow zombies are lagging behind, trying to attack you. As you can see, there's obviously no health system, because otherwise they would have died. But you can see the ragdolls in effect, because if they die, especially with an axe, their head pops off and a bit of blood gushes out. You can also see like the purple particle effect that happens when they die. And the blood gushing out of their neck, obviously. Also the head sort of detaches with the axe when you hit, when you kill them. So their head pops off, and then you can create quite a bit of carnage with the ragdolls, because the body's a ragdoll as well, and the head as well, so everything just goes rolling around with the ragdoll. You can also see a bit, if you can still see the logs, a bit difficult. There's a bit of tutorial text around the logs to show you to jump. That's a bit of a minor effect, but we put that in as well, just, you know, to show the player can jump over a log. Pretty basic obviously, but you know, it has to be explained to a player, I guess. So that's the enemies. We only have 2. There's gonna be a few more, but those are gonna be either for later vlogs and later builds. We also want to talk a bit about the camera, because as you can see the camera's like slightly off-centered for Gabe, so Gabe's not in the center. The camera's in front of Gabe. So if you look right, you can see the camera's in front of him. If you look left, you'll see the camera shifts to the left, and you know, you can't see as much behind Gabe as you can see in front of Gabe. So that's like a nice design we chose for it as well. The way that's set up is pretty easily actually. It's just in Gabe you've got like a camera follow just in front of Gabe instead of opposed to Gabe. So we just followed out the camera instead of, you know, like the player itself. So it just automatically works with a script for the camera to follow it. That's pretty easy. Apart from the obviously the camera following, you can also see a bit of depth of field. It's a bit difficult to see here, but you can see it a lot better here when there's more items in the front. It's a bit blurred in the background. It's not, you know, overly visible, but if you can look in the scene view, you can definitely see it's definitely there. You can also see it has a bit of a stylized effect with the trees, because if you look in the Steam viewer you can't see it. You can't see any sort of straight lines around the trees, but if you look in the game you can see like sort of straight black lines in it as well. It's just a bit difficult to see, but it sort of gives it a stylized effect. So that's pretty much the camera explained. Something else that might be worth noting is like there's like a massive collider around Gabe, which we pretty much use to for the aiming of the crossbow. The reason that's done is to keep the mouse pretty much inside of Gabe. Well, outside of Gabe, outside of the collider, because otherwise the IK of the crossbow would pretty much mess up and try to aim like at his feet or like in his chest, which is obviously not possible. And we couldn't get that done with sort of clamping conditions, so we decided to have like a collider around Gabe, which is sort of limit the mouse. So you can see the mouse transform in the scene viewer above. You can see me moving it around in front of Gabe. So if you move inside the collider, it will sort of project outwards and just, you know, find a point on the sphere instead of going inwards. And you can see it moving all the way around the sphere. So just to prevent the IK from going insane, because obviously that would be bad. Because we had a lot of problems with the IK setting it up, so it wouldn't, you know, like point inside him. So we just decided to have a collider around Gabe, which just pretty much restrains the mass transfer to not go anywhere near Gabe. So that way Gabe can just, you know, keep aiming at it and not go all funny. So I think that's pretty much the most important stuff we did for this build. For the next build, we're probably gonna look into more enemies, pretty much iron out the bugs, because we still got quite a few of them. We've got some problems with the gravity, which is a bit off. Also some problems with the nav mesh agents. But you know, we'll all look at that. We'll have people play with it a bit, like people we know, and have them report bugs. We'll fix them. And then we'll start looking into more enemies. And also, as you probably noticed, Gabe doesn't die, so we need to put that in. It's technically in, but the animation isn't in, and you know, Rob has like an idea for it, like a bit of a mini game to like not instantly die. But there's probably going to be more about that in, I guess, the next vlog, or you know, one of the following vlogs. So that was pretty much the technical side of this. I hope you sort of somewhat enjoyed it. It's not very in-depth, obviously, but it was just the technical side of things opposed to as the artistic design Rob had in mind. So that's pretty much it. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully you'll come back for more.